Welcome to episode 273.
You're listening to Escaping the REI Newbie Zone podcast, where you'll learn the underground, closely guarded secrets that will revolutionize your real estate business. This podcast is all about helping you exit the real estate newbie zone and enter financial freedom, building up your real estate throne. This is Escaping the REI Newbie Zone podcast. And now your host, real estate investor, entrepreneur, world traveler, and nationwide mentor, Chris Bruce.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Escaping the REI Newbie Zone. I'm your host, Chris Bruce. I want to say thank you for tuning in to today's show. Now, today we have a very, very special guest that's going to be on there, and I promise you this is going to be one of those interviews once again where you're going to be like, Chris, man, this is mind-blowing. Like, I need to hear this. All right, you're going to get true inspiration, motivation, and really understand, you know, what it takes to go from literally the bottom, you know, to the top, to increasing to the top, on your way to the top, and see what is really the things that you could take advantage of. All right, so like this person that I'm interviewing and I'm going to bring on the podcast just a little bit, he's a friend of mine. I actually met him through another mutual friend who was one of the people that actually kind of got him started in the business. Now, the crazy thing about it is the success that he's had in just even a short period of time. All right, this guy literally, I'm not going to give away his story, but he literally got in the business and he has done multiple six-figure wholesale deals. All right, most people would dream of just making that in 1 year span. He's actually made that in a check. Okay, so just imagine what you could do with a six-figure check. All right, I know you could think of a million things right now. All right, so what I want to go ahead and I want to introduce, you know, a good friend of mine. He is local in the Richmond area. The one thing I like about him is that he is super positive. He's humble, and he's also been, you know, giving back to his community. And starting a membership program that has allowed other investors locally to connect, realtors, brokers, lenders, all these different things. He's going to be talking about that as well too. So let me go ahead and wait no further, introduce my friend Eric Hunter. All right, ladies and gentlemen, like I said before on the intro, we have our very special guest. So let's wait no further, introduce my friend, my homie, Eric Hunter. What's going on, Eric?
Hey, what's up, Chris? How you doing, man?
Man, great, man. God is good. You know, I'm blessed, man. Just glad to get you on here, man, finally.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. I've been excited to get on here, man. This is one of the podcasts that I've always followed, man, you know, throughout my whole journey, bro. And, you know, over time we built that relationship, man, and became good friends. I really appreciate you for inviting me, man. I can't explain how much I appreciate this.
Oh, absolutely. So for people that may not know you yet, Eric, let's bring it back. What were you doing before real estate, and then how did you get into it?
All right, yeah, man, no problem. So just a quick backstory on who I am. Again, my name's Eric Hunter. I'm 32 years old. I live out in Richmond, Virginia. And before real estate, man, I was, you know, I kind of played some high school basketball, 9th, 10th grade. Then I started kind of getting into girls, you know what I mean? Like really getting girlfriends and, you know, the older cheerleaders started liking me. So, you know, I kind of, you know, I went astray from like really giving school the proper attention that it needed. Right. And like, you know, so I got into, you know, the wrong crowd, started skipping school, man, was kind of failing my way. But I ended up failing classes, but I ended up passing just being that I was such a smart student from the offset of like, you know, my school career. Like I was really a smart student, but I just wasn't, you know, giving it the right attention. So right. Ended up, you know, falling off from school, not qualifying for any type of scholarships, you know, come from like a middle class family, man. We couldn't really afford college at the time. My mom and dad couldn't. So I was ended up forced into basically a life of just like, hey, get a job and, figure it out. Something good will happen. And, I was already mixed in with the wrong crowd, kind of indulging in some of the wrong things, man. And it just, it left a opportunity for me to choose the wrong path, and which I did. So I got into the streets, got into like selling drugs, as just a full-time thing. That was just like, I would keep a job that would pay me just basically minimum wage because I couldn't really qualify for anything better. And I would, indulge in other things that were illegal on the side, like, like I said, selling drugs or whatever the case was. And along the way, you know what I'm saying, I ended up having children. And long story short, I was into the streets, and I ended up getting some charges on me. Whereas, I got caught with some with a gun and some drugs, and I ended up going to federal prison for that. And I ended up getting really lucky. As far as time was concerned. And I only got a short period of time. I ended up getting like 10 months to go to do in federal prison. Where most people there, they were getting, really hefty sentences, and it really played in my advantage because I got to learn a lot of where I would end up if I were to continue on that path. You know what I mean? So a lot of those guys in there, they were just, encouraging me to just go home and do better. And I went home from jail, and I continued to sell drugs after maybe a year or two. But it was always in the back of my head where I could end up at, so I always kind of wanted different. I knew I was better, and I just knew I didn't want to spend 10 to 20 years of my life in jail, being that I was already a convicted felon, So yeah, Chris, man, that just really sparked some type of energy for me to think differently, along with me having children. And, one day I was riding with my son, and he was about 7 or 8 years old. We're just hanging out. And I always would ask him what he wants to be when he grew up. And this particular day, we're just hanging out at the park. He hops in the front seat, and we're having that conversation. And, I'm really lost at the time because I'm really engaging in like selling drugs, and, I don't have a future for myself, but I just I thought that was a good question to ask my son as a dad. I didn't have a book to be a dad. Yeah, and so I asked him, man, and he really took it seriously this time. And he was just like, sitting up in a chair, Chris, and he was like, fumbling like, Dad, I want to be just like you. And man, I tell you, when he said that to me, Chris, it shifted a whole lot of energy inside of me, man, to just really focus on what the priority of life was. Like, what was my purpose here?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like I've got this little boy here growing up with my name. His name is Eric as well. And, he's like, Dad, he's thinking 3-4 minutes about what he would want to be. And the best thing he could come up with is like, I want to be just like you. And so, man, it just changed a lot in me. From that point on, the universe started talking to me, started bringing things in front of me that would then, reveal real estate to me. And, so I was just kind of looking for opportunity from that point on to change my life. And real estate came across to me. And that's where I got introduced to real estate.
Wow. Well, let's talk about that, man. That's one thing about kids, man, because I have two myself.
Right.
Is that sometimes as men we don't think about it, but our kids, we are like a superhero to them.
Yes.
So it's like,
yes, absolutely.
we try to tell them, hey, listen, do as I say, not as I do. But the reality is they're going to do exactly what they see us doing.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I agree with that, man. And so for me, coming full circle, it was like, wow, somebody's actually looking at me like I'm somebody, like I've got something to offer. And just to get to this point in my life, it feels really good to have had that person in my life. So I really appreciate my children more than anything in this world, man.
Absolutely. Okay. So you come across real estate. Now, of course, you got, those are all different types of real estate, right? You got wholesaling, you got being a landlord, fixing, flipping, owner financing. So what made you decide wholesaling to start off with?
All right. Yeah. So initially I came across a video where it was just talking about real estate in a cool way. And I was like, all right, you know, I'm going to do real estate. And this particular way was like some agency type stuff. So I went for the agency program here in the city. And that's where I ended up like having the option to take the class in 3 months, you know, a month or a week. And I was just piped up to like do something different. I took it in a week. And like I said, the universe was in alignment because in that class, I ended up meeting a good acquaintance of Chris Jefferson, who is here in my market, my partner, and a, you know, great friend of both of ours, man. Right. So I ended up meeting Chris there.
Okay.
Acquaintance of Chris. And it was just funny how it happened. You know, we were in a class and I was just like going really hard. And like, it was so divine because they were getting like great, you know, scores on tests and stuff like that. And they were doing it like effortless. And I was just like, hey, on lunch break, I was like, what are you doing? Like, you're not even paying attention and you're getting, you know, good grades. And they're like, you know, yeah, Chris Jefferson helped me out to get in this class. So I'm like, I got to meet this guy. And that's how we ended up meeting.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, one thing I know he told me about the story, you know, y'all guys meeting, and, you know, it's great that y'all became good friends and everything else. So you meet this dude, Chris Jefferson, and like what kind of changed or what clicked for you, you know, during that meeting?
Yeah. All right. So like I tell a lot of people, man, this business is like mindset and perspective. You know what I mean? So I'll just tell you what I feel like was the really pivotal or phenomena about me meeting Chris and the change in my direction. It was the perspective that I had of like success or like doing business, and Chris kind of changed that up for me. You know what I'm saying? Like me being able to see, you know, because if you know Chris, you know he wears like cargo shorts and a t-shirt 8 days a week. You know what I mean? Like, so like, you know, I'm showing up to this meeting with this guy, and I'm like, you know, I'm like dressed up like, you know, white shirt, black pants, black tie, black dress. You know what I mean? And you know, I've been ironing for 2 hours to get this thing right. You know what I mean? Like, so I get to the meeting and Chris comes in there with cargo shorts on and a Redskins tee and like this full beard. Like I've shaved all my facial hair off. You know, I'm making sure I got the best haircut. Right. You know what I'm saying? He comes in full beard, just like, you know, hey, what's up, dude? You know, and I'm like, what's up, man? And it just knocked the socks off me, man, to see that you could operate, you know, in that way and still be successful. Yeah. And then on top of that, we're the same age. You know, he's 32, I'm 32. So when he sits down at the meeting, we're both 25. And you know, he tells me he's 25. And I'm just like, wow. You know what I'm saying? And so that was the real shift. It just helped me see myself, because coming up, like, you know, the role models that I've seen, they were into like the streets or like something that wasn't, you know, legitimate business. Like, you know, right. They weren't owning, you know, hospitals, owning shops, owning this, that, and the third. They were doing other stuff to become successful. So that's what I kind of, in my mind, cultivated to be like my route to success, because that's what I've seen, you know, on a consistent basis. Absolutely. Seeing Chris change that for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and I wanted to talk about that because you're right, man. You know, growing up in the inner city, you know, growing up in a lot of urban neighborhoods, you know, that is all you see. You know what I'm saying? It's very hard for you to look at someone else, you know, that doesn't look like you and be like, I can be that. It's hard to do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's very hard.
So it's like when you see somebody that looks like you, but you like, man, they don't have a suit on. They don't have a tie on. They ain't got no dress shoes on. You know what I'm saying? They relax. Right. But they paid though. So
they
it's like,
paid though. Yeah.
It's like, okay, hold on. I can actually do this. Okay,
Absolutely.
cool. Yeah, so that's good.
Absolutely.
That's what I wanted to talk about, you know, to our listeners, because I want our listeners to know, listen, one conversation, one shift in your mindset can literally change everything. Now, Eric, you did something that I have still yet to do. and it's huge. Most investors never do this. I want to talk about this. Is that 6-figure check that you bust down, man? I mean, people don't even make that in a year. So, I mean, how did you get that done, man? Let's talk about that.
All right, yeah, man. Man, tell me about it, Chris. I appreciate it. It was a huge thing for me as well. It was a great accomplishment, and how I ended up doing it was just a simple. I didn't reinvent the wheel, man. And I think this particular deal speaks volumes to following one's course to success. So how I ended up doing it was just simple: driving for dollars and follow up.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very simple. It was nothing extraordinary. You know what I mean? Yeah. I wrote a handwritten lime green, pink ink. You know what I'm saying? No, it was just, I was riding through a really hot neighborhood where inventory is super low. And I seen this house and I actually door knocked it.
Okay.
So I drove $1, seen the house, door knocked the seller, and cold called her. I think I did both. I just can't remember which one hit. But yeah, I think I cold called her, and then the deal that ended up falling through for a while. And I had to go and door knock her. I ended up seeing her son driving down the street. I'm just leaving my mom's house, not even doing anything to do with real estate this particular day. I think it was a weekend. I was just hanging out, and I ended up seeing her son after the deal had fell through. He ended up pulling up beside me at the light.
Wow.
So I ended up just honking the horn and waving him down so he pulls over. And I'm like, hey man, what's up? I still want to buy the house. He's like, hey, I'm going to talk to my mom and we're going to get it straight. I'll get you, we'll sit down. And we ended up, sitting down with her. So it was just super simple and super easy to duplicate. You know what I mean? It was massive follow up. I was door knocking, and what the numbers on the deal was, the house was 2,500 square feet in an area where houses go for $450 to $550. And I ended up getting the property at $40K.
Wow.
Yeah, I ended up getting the property at $40K, selling it for $155.
Dang, how did you get it so low though? How'd you get that?
Yeah, I mean, to be totally honest with you, CJ picks on me a lot about, we talk about it a lot, because I was super dressed up on the appointment. Okay. I had on a cardigan. And I don't know if that did it, but I just feel the rapport that I built with them and the professionalism that I handled, it really just, it allowed me to just position myself as the expert. You know what I mean? Yeah. To tell them hey, this needs to happen, that needs to happen, and this is where I need to get it at. And how they say make an offer so low that you're kind of embarrassed. Yeah, it was one of those situations, you know what I mean? And they kind of negotiated with me, but their negotiation was only maybe $5K. I may have said 30 or 35, and they may have said 40. You know what I mean? So
right, got you.
It was just like that. Yeah.
That's nice. All right, so 6-figure check, man. I mean, how does it feel? How did it feel to get it? Did you get a wire, or did you get the check? How does that?
Actually, to be totally honest with you, I actually did it 3 times. Wow. I actually did it 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually did it 3 times. So I got the first check I did. I got a wire. No, not all of them were 6 figures. One of them was 92 and one was 97. Okay. But I mean, after I double closed it, so it was fees and stuff. But the first one was a check, man, and I was kind of scared. I was happy and scared. I was like, yo, this is crazy. And I was already in a position in my business where I was doing without that 6-figure check, I was gonna have an amazing year anyway. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was to get that 6-figure check, it was really more about hey, I did a 6-figure wholesale.
Yeah.
That's like, it was more about, it was like a Grammy for me, like an award. Like, you know, yeah, I got a 6-figure amount, but man, this is really a good business. You know what I mean? To be able to do a 6-figure in a wholesale deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I've yet to done, I think my biggest deal was, what was it? 40. Yeah, 40,000. After the fees and stuff like that.
You done a lot of those though.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, I've done a 6-figure months, but I've never done a 6-figure check, so I can only imagine, man. Yeah. That's crazy. But that's dope.
Yeah,
that's dope,
it's crazy, man. Thanks so much, bro. I appreciate it, man. And I hope it inspires your audience, man, to because I mean, I had this one guy, like, because it kind of has spread a lot of, especially in my city, and people are like getting into the business, like, hey, Eric, you showed us that deal and you left the address on there. So I looked it up and I seen that you got it for 38 or 40 or whatever. So now they thinking if they just get a house under contract for 38 in Churchill, it's gonna be $100,000. I'm like, no, man, it's not like that, but it's crazy, man.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, so. The one thing I want to talk about, and I want to hone in to listeners to make sure they understand, is that the reason why Eric got that deal, it wasn't just a one marketing piece that went out or one door knock. It was persistent follow-up, and I want to, hone in on that is because there's a lot of new investors that come into the market, and thanks to people like us that do educate. A lot of people sometimes, or they'll look at us, they see our Instagrams and YouTubes and they see us getting checks. They think that it's so simple and that, okay, all I got to do is do one marketing campaign and it's going to work. But no, it takes consistent follow-up. You got to be persistent. That is like the core to this business. So I want everybody to understand that, what Eric said is that, listen, he didn't just get that 6-figure deal. I'm pretty sure the other 6-figure deal is the same way too. Like, it wasn't just, hey, one mailer and then boom, you spend $250 in one mailing campaign. And then,
absolutely not. No, absolutely not, man. Yeah. You gotta cringe at night, because because you gotta keep following up. So yeah, Chris. Hone in on that, man. Make sure they understand it's really key.
Yeah, you got to follow up. And I want people to understand. So listen, you can't, if you're going to advertise, I tell people like this. When you see the new iPhone, right, every September they drop a new iPhone, iPad, whatever, right? They do this big old, the CEO will come on there. Steve Jobs used to do it before he died. And every September, you just knew that it was a presentation. They were going to reveal a new iPhone, reveal a new iPad, whatever the case may be, right? And then they offered that people could go ahead and pre-order. Now, if you look at that as advertising, which is marketing, just like us, if they were to only do that one event and never market the iPhone again, how much more sales would they lose out on? So it's the same thing with your real estate business, is that you do that one marketing campaign that, is going to get you some leads, but you need to continually marketing, continually following up with everything, because eventually, if someone sees you 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, or hear from you, or hear your offer, eventually, a lot of those people are going to come around and then be ready to sell. You got to position yourself in front of them, because there's so many. Eric, man, I can't tell you how many deals I've picked up because another wholesaler didn't follow up.
Yeah. I can agree with that. I've been in that position as well. Yeah. They do all the hard work for you,
right?
And then you come in and they already educated the seller by them not following up that, hey, it's a cheap deal. So yeah, let me go ahead and take it. But yeah, I want to add something, man, to that, because like I said, it's mindset and like psychology, and marketing is the same way. Of course. And, like on Instagram, for instance, I see a lot of different advertisements and I don't really click on them or be like, let me see what this is about until the 5th or 6th time. You know, I might see it once, see it twice, see it, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then I'm like, hey, this dude is consistent and he's like really kept his marketing in front of me. All right, it's gotta be something that I need to, and I just look at it. So I just wanted to kind of interject that because, you know, like you were saying, most of the time people don't follow through or act until they've seen you that many times.
Yeah.
And you want to position yourself, keep yourself in front of, so that whenever they're ready to make that decision, it's a no-brainer.
Absolutely. Perfect. Okay. So I know as you've been, you know, super successful in your market, a lot of people probably have, you know, reached out to you and wanted to start to get your help. Now, of course, as us busy entrepreneurs that are making money, you know, we can't just always just offer our time for, you know, free because, you know, hey, listen, we're entrepreneurs. Our time is valuable. And, you know, we just can't do it. We would love to do that if it was enough time in the day, but it just isn't. So I know you guys started, you know, this big community locally. I know it's probably getting ready to spread out, you know, over the next few months nationwide. But let's talk about, you know, the Lion's Den and how you guys came up with it and how, you know, what the program is really, really about and how people can get access to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Lion's Den is pretty much an active community of investors, seasoned investors, new investors, lenders. We have realtors inside. We have contractors. We got apartment owners. We've got list providers and other great mentors that are just, you know, super successful in this industry. And basically, it's a community surrounded around giving monthly guidance to investors that are trying to, you know, work their way into the business or grow their businesses. And what me and Chris decided was, hey, when we were coming into the game, there weren't any affordable, you know, mentorship programs where we could get good, solid, you know, advice from people that were currently successful. So that was our aim. And that's what we've kind of accomplished here. And we're growing into the full potential of what it could be and what it should be, which would be us being able to guide and mentor individuals on a monthly basis, as well as build a community where they could, you know, intermingle and like ask questions that'll get answered from, you know, multiple people, but in the same direction, you know. So that's kind of what the Lions Den has been for people. I think we've got like 44 members in there right now, and we haven't really promoted it. We've just opened the doors to it. And we've got some super solid people in there as well giving guidance. But yeah, you know, people are going to learn the business and then they're going to run into some obstacles and they're going to have questions and just they're going to have a lot of inquiries about how to set up their business and how to continuously run their business and grow their business with, you know, with things updating and changing, so on and so forth. So that's what we got in the Lions Den.
Gotcha. All right. So anyone that's listening, you know, that would love to get more information about joining, how could they go about that?
All right, yeah. So you could check my Instagram, check Chris's Instagram. We have the links in our bio, and I'm sure you can put that maybe in the notes.
Put that in the show notes.
And yeah, you put in the show notes, and we got a link there as well, where you can just click it and get signed up for it, and just, you know, definitely check our Instagrams out so that you can get more information.
So that people can know too.
Yeah. My Instagram is at Major League _Billy, Billy. And Chris's is Living Fresh, at Living Fresh.
Perfect. All right. And
yeah,
we'll make sure we include, again, those links to their Instagrams on the show notes as well, guys. So that way you can go ahead and follow them on Instagram and also get that link to join the Lions Den. So,
absolutely.
Eric, so what else you got going on for the next rest of half of the year?
Right. So for the second half of the year, man, I'm actually rolling out a few intimate coaching products, man. We got a new mastermind coming out which you're going to be inside of. So, we're cooking that up for the world. We got a few seminars coming up that I'm cooking up as well. And yeah, man, just keeping things rolling. I got my team rolling here in Richmond. We're building on our team. Like I was just telling you, I just added to my team, man, delegating some tasks, which is big for growth. So we're just growing, and we're just teaching more people how to just get started from where they are, man. And, just keep building this empire nationally, and then, ultimately just changing the world as much as we can.
Absolutely, man. I mean, listen, just like Dip said, the marathon continues, man.
Continues, baby.
Yeah. All right, so Eric, man, I want to say, thank you for, coming on today's show. I know everybody's going to love it. We're going to make sure we include all the show notes so people can lock in and link up with you on Instagram. Any last words for our listeners today?
Yeah, man, I got some last words for them. Last words of encouragement and inspiration. I just want to tell everybody that me personally, man, I come from a background of like not knowing this type of lifestyle was possible for myself. Not understanding that I could be in a successful position without someone else's approval. You know what I mean? And I want people to know from where they are that you can capture your destiny and the things that your heart desires based on your actions. Everything starts within. So if you start to change yourself and investing into yourself, personally developing yourself, mentally developing yourself for endurance to, meet failure with enthusiasm and keep going, then you'll get results and you'll win as well, just like anybody else. Just like Jay-Z said, everybody has greatness in them. You just got to unlock it. So I just want to send people that inspiration so that they can keep going. And, like you said, it will only be right. The marathon continues. Let's keep going, guys.
Absolutely. Guys, and make sure you check out this episode in the show notes. And again, we're going to have all of the links on there for you to go ahead and lock in and follow Eric. And you the guys know my quote: don't live the dream, live your dream. I'll see you guys on the next episode.
Thanks for listening to Escaping the REI Newbie Zone podcast at www.escapethenewbiezone.com.